On the plus side, it gave me an excuse to go to Walmart and get dinner.
That's right. You're welcome.
Hey, I bought Polo sausage and all that good stuff to make dinner tomorrow. Oh yeah. So we used to
Did it
Polo
heal up all
sausage
right?
with all the herbs and the dressing, you know, got some nutty buddies, and more protein shakes and stuff.
How's your
Just
pizza
giving me an excuse to go to Walmart.
It was good, yeah.
Because I had to pick up a prescription.
Yeah.
I went back and worked.
I can take it easy.
Unless you could.
You're welcome. I brought like 6.
Pardon?
Oh.
I bought them off Timu. They're really good ones.
Yeah, I was just sitting there thinking, but I hadn't brought a pen.
But,
So y'all want an agenda? Okay. So you want an agenda?
How you doing? It's tiny.
Oh, thank you.
It's tiny.
I'm a big tall person.
Yeah, Timu had these for really cheap. Yeah, for $10 a block. They're 0.5. Yeah, they're 0.5 millimeter on the writing. So
Yeah, I've heard it. That's pretty good.
and everybody orders like that, so I took 20 orders.
I'm okay. I'm getting there. Sorry, I'm
Join the group.
No, go ahead. I was just putting my phone.
How are you?
It's a long time no see.
You doing okay?
I am.
You won't find
I had knee replacement surgery. Stroke. Yeah, I'm struggling 5 months ago. It's like you think I would have it out.
I was wondering why you were home that long.
Yeah, yeah.
I never see you, so.
retired.
No, I wish.
Hi there.
James won't let you.
Yeah, they put a knee replacement.
You seen those lights
Yeah.
last night?
I seen them last night
Yeah,
when we
it's
come from
terrible.
TMA.
You can't
Oh,
twist
that's
them.
They do, they look good.
Do they?
Yeah.
They really
And
shine.
they're bright.
They really shine, don't they? And the sign looks good.
That might not look so good.
Get out at night.
Putting that cream in
Up
there.
here at the church.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna cut that line one.
Our lights that we have were just things and
Yeah.
like very much like them. Really do.
Yeah.
Stephen's attached to the supposed to be here with them first. At last. They didn't. They're going to see them tonight, though. What? You'll see them tonight. Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah. The flags. The flags?
Some of them
Well, I don't know. I haven't looked that far. Yeah. That's
then they had a pair of
true. I think that Memorial Day is
You could have done
26. Yeah.
$300 credit for sunglasses.
Because we're going on vacation. Maybe not. Hey. When we be back. About 10 or 11 days. Okay. We don't know. Okay, we'll be back in
I think we'll just call you if we need you.
Did you cancel?
That's okay with you?
So it's still the polls open until tomorrow, but it'll close on Tuesday because of it's like.
He's got my Bluetooth speaker that'll do, you can full room, has to call that person.
Yeah.
It's
It'll
to load
The only
it.
thing they have in executive session, like you should read the agenda, was employee positions, trees mayor, and trees vice mayor.
He's got, he's gonna get to call something. So that's what he's
hot and with the tornadoes coming in our
That's super good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's like
It is summer.
Yeah, it's just, but all of a sudden,
Well,
I don't know why. I'll get some more go out.
This is the first time I've ever had it about this. It's not really working.
Yeah, that's my husband Nathan right there.
Oh, no, I was just.
You don't have the Santa beard no more. Yeah. He did Santa Claus for 5 years. He played Santa for 5 years. He could have done that one while throw away. I think you have to get the suit, it's too big.
I think it was one of the ones I was gonna bring in. Didn't happen. There's no obstacle course to get started with. Yeah, but we know better than anything. Yeah, that's right, definitely. Yeah, that was good. Sorry, I'm still moving a little bit slow with those things. I'm good whenever.
See on the side of this, where your middle finger is?
This one?
Yeah, you push it up. No, turn it on. And you should just be able to push record.
First thing we have to do is figure out who's gonna talk.
I guess you wanted
You want me to start it?
to call the meeting.
Okay, the rest of the board? Town of Tryon Board of Trustees, special meeting, April 17th, 2025 at 7:01 PM. First Baptist Church, 122 North First Street, Tryon, Oklahoma. Amended agenda, call to order. Roll call.
Sandy here.
Jenna here?
Jim here. Nathan there. Richard here. Item number 3, welcome new board members to the board. Hope everything's not as hard as it may look. Hope we get a little bit easier. Item number 4 is consideration, discussion, action on adding Jenna Taylor, Jimmy Hampton, and Nathan Jones to the Payne County bank accounts. You want to make a motion?
Only thing I changed on mine is to put James,
Okay,
because that's my official name is James.
okay.
Is it Jim or Jimmy? Because I've heard
Jim.
Jim. That's my guy.
But all documents need to be changed.
Okay.
Well, I make a motion to add Jenna, myself, and Nathan to the Payne County bank account.
Do you have a second? Nathan seconded.
Is it just one account or should it have a plural there? Is there more than one account?
Yeah, you can just make the motion as all town accounts.
All accounts, revise that to all town accounts. And that's 3 new board members to all accounts.
Sandy, yes.
Jenny, yes.
We didn't get a second.
I think Nathan did.
No, you made a motion, didn't you?
No,
you made a motion. Oh, you made it. I'm sorry. Richard, yes. It's not on here. What do you want to do about taking the other members off?
I can just tell them that doesn't have to be in the motion.
Item number 5, proposal of Board of Trustees of the Town of Tryon entering into executive session in accordance with Title 25, Section 307, subsection B1. Discussing employment, hiring, appointment, promotions, disciplining, resignation of any individual salaried, public official, or employee. 5.1-1 and 1.1 employee position. 5.1.2 choose mayor. 5.1.3 choose vice mayor.
I move we go into executive session.
Second. I'm going to abstain from this proposal, reason being, the meeting that you guys had on Sunday, where everything here on this agenda was discussed, I was not part of that agenda. I was asked to go, but another board member was not asked to go, and so I have an issue with that. So I'm going to abstain from going into executive session.
Sandy is also going to abstain from going into executive session.
Yep.
Our initials here. And I say yes to executive session too.
Yeah, we all have to go out to the outside.
I guess there's
One thing.
Hey.
Oh, not much.
Yesterday, my
It's really pretty. Hi. Good. How are you? We're moving to 7, but we we're excited to go. So we're getting the cool. So I love that. I saw them.
You can whisper.
Hey.
It's really good for you.
Okay. I don't think you can reach that.
I don't think care, but I will.
I don't want to
Next week, I know about
7 kids.
Never I can do.
There's like 100 eggs per child. I'm surprised.
I can't read it. Look, you have to go back up. There's no pointing.
Well, like all the stuff that we discussed weekend, it's always like, it's really high. Right. Like the last moment or whatever.
They're trying to try us out. Well, you know, you never knew. You go outside?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go outside. It's hot. Yes.
He's available.
Well, I'm worried about it raining next Saturday.
Which is
I don't know.
better than the last one.
That's true.
Because it's raining Southwest.
So are you having it the 19th or when are you having it?
No, it's going to be next weekend, so
The
it'll be
26th.
26th. But it's still the same time.
Just hanging it, just tie them over underneath the.
Yeah, if it starts raining, just
Update a flyer with a new day on it, and then we can just post it in the text message too.
Stephanie is also giving us a basket. It's like Sensi stuff, so.
I'll have a lot of little things.
Okay. Yeah, I'll come out there and I'll let you guys.
Yeah, no, I might be nice.
I did.
I didn't know everything was out here.
Just fine. Y'all. No matter what. And it takes time to really work it.
Actually, it's supposed to. I found it, I can't tell the weather.
It's only a 50% chance, and it's supposed to be sunny in the morning up until 11, so.
I just saw she passed. I didn't know. I didn't know which one. Yes, yes, absolutely. 100%.
Slips up on us.
It does. Oh, it's a good day. What you know? Yeah. Yeah. So, Junior didn't know. I might stop him anything, but I've heard him in the boat. I just saw him. Tuesday. Yeah. He's working at the building apartments.
I know, I see Alvin up there in the hallway.
Yeah. Alan's at
Lot of board.
Well, he said, you know, I was home for almost 2 months. And it's just like, okay, I gotta find something to do. Carol's going, yep, you gotta get out of the house. So he works like 3.
Yeah, 3 days a week.
Of course, you know, Saturday, Friday, the house is like back and clean. So
Tomorrow's supposed to be raining, Saturday's supposed to be raining.
So he'll be
20% chance.
just stay on
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Saturday's 20, so
making sure they do what they want.
and it's not supposed to rain until like 11. So by then,
It's supposed to be.
it's 10 to noon, but after like 10 noon or 10:30 is when we say AMENDED. The actual hunt itself, so we'll get it done by then. And
You
if it
kind of
really does
adjust that day
rain,
too, yeah.
if it really does rain, then we can hang out and keep going.
Is it rock there?
It'll be great.
Right there.
It'll be
On hand.
And maybe once it gets here, it won't be that will change. Maybe the chances a little bit.
No. When the tornado went through there, that's the only house that was touched. Yeah. So to me, it says it's built really well. I forgot who they told me. No, that's carpenter or something. That was good. So.
How'd you go from new pastor?
No, something, my kids downloaded something and it pops up ads. And I can't find which one it is. I've deleted everything that was on there already.
He's on 21.
Yeah.
I can't even get back on top of the phone and it pops up like. you
Yeah.
can't
I
use
know,
it.
but not a
And they got a lot more energy at that age.
Yes. Well, and his cousin,
I don't know what happened to it, but when they,
Bryce,
I woke up.
he's one of the New York's called Wheeling.
Yeah, like, I definitely got it.
Looks like Hunter or
It was like a
something.
month ago.
It's my password.
Yes, he had the university and stuff, and they wanted to take over. He said, okay, that's good.
2 phones ago.
So, got his cousins here.
And we're walking through Walmart counting. I had one that's walking through Walmart and her shoe caught like the door and she stumbled and it fell and shattered the whole screen.
And all that stuff like that. And this is people. Mhm.
He tried.
Sunday, no party.
Thank you for mowing down. Thank you for mowing down.
Okay, not a problem.
He said he did it.
They were coming to the house anyway.
I asked him how many times did you?
Yes.
It was twice. Well, I said, how much did
You don't have any problem.
She would take,
And
you know,
don't call.
and then he had a thing to
Text him.
him.
He does not like phone calls. Text him. Of course, he's,
At the time.
yeah, well, he was on his way to Missouri. He got 3 of us on that. Where's the electricity at? We didn't ask him, we didn't know. Right. So, somebody ran back 26 miles generator on the truck and brought it back. And they parked it back. So I was wondering why. It was great.
What is it doing?
I guess I could feel the energy.
Something just told me to tell you.
I imagine they would be happy for you to do that.
I have to tell you, so
It's not like this one.
I got to do a lot because I didn't get to talk to you, lay the cement of the house. So it's like,
That's just don't see him without getting all the tea.
Donna's got to learn.
I know that with the grant that we have, we applied for our one, is, we're gonna. something, whatever, and they're gonna build like a greenhouse, like a community garden back there, so I'm assuming that they're probably just gonna put it back there, so that's actually part of the library.
I'm here for the tea.
The library has a greenhouse. It's not being used right now. So, okay, cool. If you want to start go over there. We have tons of rooms that if you want.
So we feed Sunday nights and the bottom. He's like, what can we do? Get this one down to volunteer.
So we're trying to start something to get a bigger garden area.
Sunday night strap.
And we've got a couple like little plots out there. I've got 50 years old lined up. If you come by the library, I can show you all the seats we have. Room.
Basically. Yeah, I've got some overdue books to return to. We're in non-joking. Oh my goodness.
Just that big too.
He was like, I like a boat.
How long is it?
Yes, but I tried. Oh, my daily.
I know, I didn't work with that
I was with all the pictures and stuff that's posted on
I just bought it all day after I got it.
Actually, they really do a big deal with that. Like, it's really big.
Yeah.
The one that I went to for mine, the one that I have now is Stillwater on it's on 6, like up by, there's like a little straight mall on Washington.
Shane Alfie, that's what he's like, my foot tattoo.
I don't think it was Shane, it was somebody else. I did it on separate, and I don't think.
I color on both my tattoos, they really haven't made it that much, but I should have just colored out so I did one of my hands, just faded those edges, so I should I want one for my kids.
You know,
Didn't you say that you were going to have kids again? Just feel like you're feeling back to it.
Yeah, so basically, I'm gonna do that. That's the one when I'm done having kids,
I really like the video of feather tattoos.
I had to turn my Bluetooth off because he's got that speaker. What's he got the speaker? Because he's calling where? On speakerphone? And that way it goes through the room and you can hear it. You can hear it through the neighbor's house when I'm outside playing.
Oh, cool.
It's this way.
Like I really use original art. Some of them cover it absolutely.
Well, yeah,
most part, we have people that just use the same ones. You want someone who uses all that house for you, I've got the stack that's big. Oh, sorry. And I know it's just allergies, and each one is a dozen. $40. It took freaking a month to get here.
Oh, right, yeah.
Jim and Judy used to go and get
Exactly.
That's what we don't do this afternoon. Over at Abrams, but they let town, we, at 55, it's only $4. 55 and up is $3. 55 below is $2. We don't charge the whole lot. And then the fees that we have, we bought it off Jim, and we have pictures and stuff. We've been doing that. So we do have. I'll know where to have to go back to Walmart. And we need it. See the county, you know, that one penny, 513 different ways, we get a little sliver out of that. So all sales tax in Lincoln County, that's how firefighters and the city services.
And then you wouldn't hear anything. And then you hear, then you wouldn't hear anything. It's like, well, is it coming or not?
Well, it's coming, but still people want it. Yeah. Just like George did it. And Daryl,
Well, and I think it's
he's over there, he's the one who really cracks on the rules. You know, today that's going. Okay, sorry, Daryl, you can't play Triple Five. Cause I already figured it out who had it, cause it's these two there should be saying some points, but so it ended up being him. But yeah, afterwards,
east side of the case, the things that top of the bill.
Sometimes two tables go loud. The first Saturday night at 5 o'clock. Game night. And Jim Kenny comes, horses and dominoes. So, there's chicken food going.
Well, yeah,
If I had it, then they had food. Some of them want to put hand food.
everything off. I haven't,
But that's the first Saturday.
There had to be something that
At 5 o'clock.
walk outside for 10 minutes and then I came in and I had to take an hour and I coughed up. I had like breath freshener spray and I was like, 10% go away. Yeah. When I go back and forth, they do allergy pills. Yeah, there's no
That's why
it's like blue and white bottle. The generic I have a bottle in my purse. Yeah. Sometimes I get all medical. I have Manuka. It's supposed to be like 3 tablespoons of honey every day. It's barred. I don't know if everyone that would be my all my carb whole day. If it's like fresh little honey, it's not like the same as processed. No, it doesn't hit your carb like it can. It is a lot of sugar, but it's natural. I know I'm the barter. I ended up with another $7 from a lady in Oklahoma City on Facebook. I bought a plate from her. Big, like, pretty serving dish, Pyrex one that's in the old version of Pyrex, the originals. And she's like, I'm doing a storage unit that I've got some other stuff. I just put with that. She got selling stuff. Jeweler. She's fixing to start digging jeweler stuff out and sending them my way. And then a brand new 1992, I think it's a 92 or 93 sewing machine. It's a kissing, and it's white and teal. I'm missing the power cord. I can get the power cord for $20. I paid $20 for the machine. My daughter used it one semester in high school and put a beep in the box. Everything that has scratching. Oh, it does. I can manually toast it and it still sews. It just doesn't have power cord. And I don't have one that matches. But I found those on I think AMENDED for $20 shipping it over for a brand new power cord for it. It's already threaded. Power cord.
Judy, how was the zoo? How was the zoo?
So they had to make.
You see
$10. Great marketplace. Actually $4. They got it marked down. And it's from Edmond, which would be original. And they're $4 containers. Yeah. From $10 to $4. So he's trying to sell.
I don't know.
So if you want some, I pick some next time.
They have to do.
And in 2 weeks, I have to take 6 or 8 chicks over to the milk with some snow water. Trade her out 2 gallons of milk for 6 chicks that are 18 days old. She wanted hens, and I said, I got chicks I'm hatching, and I get them all hatched after they're 18 days old. I'll trade you out. She goes, well, what's the trade with me? I said, 2 gallons of milk for 6, maybe 8 chicks, depending on how many hens I get. And she goes, call me when you're hatched. And she asked me what breed they are. I said, I have no idea. I said, but I can tell you if they're hens. She goes, I'll make that works. Because she sells her milk from her cows or goats, and she sells her eggs. But she lost all her chicken flock this year. So, to animals, it's not pasteurized. It's straight.
It's a kid's book,
jugged,
but if you come in and check out the book, it's $10.
We don't like it. We tried it.
I just now got
I feel like a drink.
so they taste it.
I got it on my.
I can't drink stores. It drives my sister. I drink goat milk fresh from the
That a lot of people still follow the old website too, so I try to get it still, but I'm exhausted.
and I have no calcium, so I gotta get it somewhere. Summertime,
But it's one specific kid's book, it's called Jennifer's Butterfly Garden. But you check it out, and then I give you the ticket, and it's
Because she makes it in the morning, and then she takes the jug
as
in
many
the
times as
afternoon.
you check it out.
Most of the time, they're not.
That's awesome.
And she milks the animals, and she runs it down just in her body filter, the jug, and just the jug. So it's straight milk, there's cream and everything. I can make butter with it. It makes the best potato soup. Yes, the goat milk. She's excited about getting new chicks. So you got 2 weeks to figure it out. That's what we just started hatching Friday. Yes, I'll take it. Just bring me what you got. Okay.
I buy a lot of young adults.
So instead of me selling the chicks for $4 or $5 a piece, like I was planning on, I just do a trade off with her. And she wants more birds, and I get one up later. She's also got one of my sewing machines on mom. She's got my 10 more, and still love it. First crash. I was just, one day when I fixed the gallon of milk up. You gotta fix this. Talking about the thing she uses to breast it, and up into the chute. And I was like, you have a machine? She was like, I was like, hold on. I had one in the car. Anyways, how about this? I was like, you can run up some machine so you can replace it. I said, trade you out $2 for now. And then we're gonna go with the machine home.
The books are better. The movies aren't phenomenal.
So I picked the $2 of milk and she's had it for 8 months.
I will always
I paid $10 for it at the first time.
But I mean, that's
I don't care. But she does want me to know. You need milk again?
There's always a trend.
Normally it's no, I'm good at the moment. So I'm just don't worry, Cherokee doesn't like goat milk either. She likes the cow milk. I have my barter. Right now I've got at 7.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Oh yeah.
It's only been 15 minutes. I've been meaning to ask.
I was outside kind of like that one. It wasn't. Yeah, they can check. They sustain themselves.
I know, the cemetery in Nashville is one of the first places. They have to listen for you.
that's in there. I might have to when we get it back out. Or at least like
So they pay the value 66. Unfortunately.
I don't necessarily want to flip the paper.
I expect that. Are you expecting games? We're all nothing now. Like I said, I'm still part of your stuff, but I'm not interfering too. Same thing. Part of it, but not interfering in what they do. Because we're allowed to. I'm like, my allergies to kicking in the next couple of weeks. But it hasn't hit me yet because I've been taking medication. My stress level is too high right now.
Well, I said, I know if I took anything.
No, he came. I think he said I'm bored already.
Okay, so I told you everybody was here.
Everybody, I thought everybody was here. So I guess he decided to show up. He said, I thought you was telling me I needed to.
He said goodbye.
He goes, I'm already bored.
I will let you know when my dry nurse sends it. She's sending me habanero strawberry, habanero peach jelly. Yeah, she has a huge garden. She grows like 15 rows of peppers. They love can all their peppers.
Well, Larry's
So they
still
make
here.
jelly with strawberry.
Larry's still
Weird
here.
flavors. She's like, I'm gonna make you a jar of jelly. I said, I'll take it. Bring it on. So, but it'll be like a week and a half before she sends it. So she's waiting on. She's already picked 2 or 3 peppers already. And they have, she said she has 7 goats, and 3 of them are pregnant. 2 of them just had twins. Yeah. She's got some property, which is exciting.
Sorry it took so long, folks.
That was short.
Did you? Good deal, thank you. So we'll go back to this. I'm here. I'm here.
Before I just say that.
Dr. McGinnis, yeah, right, yeah. I didn't have it done after that.
You know, it hasn't been that slow. And then he gets really mad if he can't
On my surgery center.
And me and that corn.
Took mine about 30 minutes.
Oh, really?
I know, I was down over here in this corner. I was turning right up to it.
He's still very independent. But yeah. But he won't keep himself.
Oh, really?
It's that weather from there.
I mentioned it to him because
I make a motion to return to executive session.
Sandy, yes.
Consideration, discussion, action on matters discussed in executive session.
Can't hear. Raise your voice, please.
Consideration, discussion, action on matters discussed in executive session. 5.1.1 employee position. We discussed that we're going to have to do advertising for the positions that are open. We also discussed not accepting one of the resignation letters that has been rescinded. We'll accept her rescinding her resignation and go ahead with other changes that the board may designate. Choosing a mayor.
We should vote. I motion to nominate Richard for mayor of Tryon.
Oh, Jim, no.
Sandy, no.
Richard, yes.
So, let me make this something clear real quick on that.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Yeah, I'll make something clear. Me and you've talked about this position with the last mayor, voting yourself in as mayor, and you said it was legally done. And so now you're voting yourself in, doing the same thing you accused Rocky of doing.
I think the difference there was they had some.
You guys made a precedent by allowing him to vote.
Well, they had, wasn't there one board member who was missing, who wasn't there to vote? Another board member abstained, which is an automatic no, and Richard voted no, which would have been 3 no's to 2 yeses. Compared to 3 yeses
But
to 2
the thing,
no's.
what he griped about was
I know.
that Rocky voted yes. And now he's voted yes on the same thing he accused Rocky of doing, and said it was illegal.
Well, I think the illegal part was the fact that they didn't have a 3-2 majority.
It was a 2-2.
It's 2-2 now.
It was 2-2 with Rocky.
It's 3-2 now.
It's no, no,
Yes,
no,
yes,
no.
yes.
And he just voted himself in, so that's, he just did the same thing he accused Rocky.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that the legality of it before was the fact that wasn't a majority of votes.
When Rocky changed his.
I know when I was mayor and I was appointed mayor, I had to abstain myself from voting, and that comes from the town attorney. That's why I wish the town attorney was here right now.
Yeah.
So we
He
could
said that
actually,
if you needed him, he said that you could try to call him as well.
we could actually ask.
We could call him right now and ask him again if you'd like.
Did you guys talk to him in executive session?
We did.
Because that's the way it's been in the past, is the mayor, as like I said, I've been mayor for several years, and I could not vote for myself.
Yeah, Stephen, James Hampton has a question for you.
Hey, Stephen, this is Jim Hampton. Question about the mayor position has just come up. We're at 2 and 2. I know when I was mayor back years ago, the town attorney told me I could not vote for myself as mayor. Is that, and that's the way it's been since I've known until I think Rocky came on the board, where Rocky voted for himself. So, how does that work? That's a legal question.
Yeah, no, I understand the question. I'm not aware of any restriction anywhere that would say an individual couldn't vote for themselves. I mean, and under the circumstances. So I mean, absent something else, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying somebody didn't tell you that, but I'm personally not aware of any restriction like that. I'd be happy to entertain somebody tell me where it came, but I'm not aware. So my understanding would be you have a vote, and a name comes up, everybody casts their vote, and where the chips fall, where they fall, basically.
Yeah.
But I'm not aware of a restriction like that.
Okay. Well, it was brought up to me after I got ran and opposed, and it was by Richard, that what was done the last time was illegal, that Rocky shouldn't have voted for himself, and now Richard's voting for himself. So that's what I was asking. I need someone legally to tell me what's going on. So.
No, but yeah, I like I said, that I'm unaware of any limitation anywhere that says that a person can vote. I mean, so again, I'll use on this board as my, the makeup here, but you've got it says, hey, we're going to come up, we're going to vote on who's going to be mayor. Somebody nominates somebody, and then the board's going to vote. And specifically, again, as a generic principle, and I'll defer if I saw something that said, oh, here's where it says you can't, but when you got the reason you have a 5-member board, typically is you have an odd number to avoid ties. But if somebody said, and so we'll use our example, somebody said, I'm nominating Richard, he said, well, okay, I can't vote, I'm going to abstain. And then Jenna and Nathan say yes, and Sandy and Jim say no, and it's 2-2, and that what happens? We'll say, we're stuck. And you don't want to be a blogger. I mean, that's how I would look at it. And again, without something more, I don't think that's a principle of law that just applies. It may be a practice that somebody uses.
Yeah, it's been a practice here forever.
Yeah.
And it's like that. Several town attorneys told me the same thing. We've had several town attorneys tell me that I could not vote for myself in executive session. They told me that I could not vote for myself, and that's several, that they've been doing town business for years, been town attorneys for years, and they said I could not vote for myself. So.
I mean, I'll be happy to look at this more, but that's not my understanding.
Yeah. Once you look at it, like I said, we need transparency, and that's what we want.
I agree. I haven't actually had the pleasure of meeting you. I've met everybody else, just with Jenna and Nathan, for instance, I've met even before they were voted on the board. I've just been at town meetings or whatever. But I will say that's kind of the key for me as well. I've told everybody, I've told the citizens that have been there concerned about it. For me, transparency is the key. That's how I would want to operate. That's
we're going to operate on this board.
Sure, no, absolutely. So yeah, I agree with that one. So
okay.
That'll be my take too. So.
Okay.
Is that it? Are we good?
Yes.
Really for now?
Yeah,
okay.
Just do some checking. So.
I will look and I'll see what I can find out if there's some I can get to or whatever.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Were you guys all able to hear that?
Yes.
Okay. Item 5-1-3, choose the vice mayor.
I motion that we nominate James as the vice mayor. He's the, another member of the board who does have that experience.
Sandy, yes.
Richard, yes. I'm gonna abstain. So I'll hear that.
Item number 8 is miscellaneous. Before I go into miscellaneous, I want to make a little statement here. As a member of this board, I would like to see more transparency and people more civil to the community and to each other. We don't want anybody talking about each other's backs and doing what we have to. Do it legally. In reference to those who set up the meeting on April 13th, 2025, I did. I wanted an informational meeting for the members of new coming onto the board that were facing some major issues. Due to time constraints, we had to do these issues, reference being some resignations, before the May 4th meeting, or May 6th meeting. I called Jim about the meeting and what was being discussed. 27-minute phone call. He said he could not make the meeting. I'd also attempted to reach him 4 times before on the same day. I called Sandy after the meeting and told her why we met and what we talked about. Told her we needed a meeting on the 17th. Her phone call was 16 minutes long. She asked why we had a meeting without her being there. I said because if there was 2 people at the meeting, we probably need to have an agenda. We were meeting as citizens, and it was just an informational meeting. Nothing was being decided. Nothing was being talked about other than what was coming up in the next 4 to 6 months. What we talked about. Item 1, we need to pick a mayor and a vice mayor. Item number 2, change the signature cards, old and new members on the bank accounts, which would be Rocky, Mary Lee, and Amanda off the accounts, Jenna, Nate, James on the account. We had talked about hiring for utility clerk, utility manager, part-time maintenance worker, compliance officer, emergency management, what we had to do to set up advertising for those job positions, hour, pay, duties, things such as that matter. We also talked about we need to get a hold of Mike, get Mike's feeling on how his job is going, because our other 2 board members here had issues on how the prior board treated him at one point. We talked about things such as library and town office hours. People come to us in the past asking why the hours at the offices are so small, just so few hours. I told them we had to issue and return the keys, had to get combinations on different locks, and how to operate the sirens. Another thing we talked about is getting hold of Leslie Wilbur, our grant person. We're going to talk about needing to get a hold of her sometime in the near future on how to get grants, who the contacts were, what contracts we had out, and what the timelines for paperwork are, in case we had to do it on our own. Also, I had asked probably have to ask her if she's possible to give us some information on the grant, because there might be confusion on how they're handled. We talked about building needs, equipment at the new building, tin horns, equipment in the building for the library, etc. We talked about one of the major things was community involvement at the meetings. We want the meeting open to the public with input, but with minor restrictions if needed. We also want to record all future meetings, have enhanced audio to record all the meetings on 2 recorders. We knew that some could wait some would have to be for a future meeting after May 4th, or May 6th or later. Most of the above needed to be discussed, and some of the issues needed to be addressed before the 30th, when we could lose 2 employees. That is why we asked for the special meeting tonight. If the new members would have been informed or invited to an informational meeting by the old board before that date, no meeting would have been needed tonight. We made no decisions. It was just an informational meeting.
Okay, I'm gonna interrupt there. I want it publicly announced who of the 3 of yous gave Heather Eckler Brittney's resignation when that was a private email that went out to past and new board members. And she posted it on Facebook. I wanna know which one of yous did that.
Ask her.
She ain't gonna tell you.
Heather, who said it to you?
I'm not gonna say because I'm.
Of course
Okay.
not.
I just figured I'd ask.
And none of yous are gonna admit to it.
got my email trail, so. Yeah, same here, I'm not scared.
I can't say it was nobody on the board.
Okay, thank you. That was wrong.
Anything else? It was wrong.
It was 100% wrong. That was internal business for the town employees of Tryon. Social media and Heather did not have the right to see that.
Amen.
And I question the new board members that don't want to speak up to who really did it. That makes me wonder, are you going to be like this your next 4-year term?
So as one of these new board members, I'm not speaking up to who did this because I don't know. I don't care.
I don't know either.
I don't care. It shouldn't have happened. It did happen. And employees, a public employee is giving their notice is technically public information. It's free for anybody to request it. However, the fact that how we reacted to that is also just as bad.
Oh, I don't think so at all, because yous were wrong. Whoever one of yous did that was wrong.
How do you know it was one of us? It wasn't one of the previous members.
Because of her comment she just made.
I didn't hear what she said.
She said, I can't say it's not a board member.
Oh, I just said I can say it was not.
She can say it was not a board member.
Not a board
which
member.
means you just accused all 3 of us incorrectly.
Well, I know for a fact that that email only went out to board members.
Well, you did happen to notice that the first name on the list was Rocky. Well, he was the mayor at the time, and so,
Right.
you know.
But it says to Rocky and me. That's the way it was written.
So, because everybody was BCC'd on it, so it could have been anybody who got that.
Exactly.
Right. It could have been you, for all we know.
I don't think I would have raised such Cain if it was me.
Well, I agree, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
It's sitting here and pointing fingers and accusing and fighting
No, I
is
just-
exactly the problem that made those of us run.
If we're gonna be transparent,
Yeah.
then step up to the plate and admit who did it.
I did not do it.
I don't know what did.
All we can do from this point on is like you said, be transparent, because that's what we ran.
Yeah,
That's what
absolutely.
the people of this town want. They want us to be transparent. They want us to be open to them and look at them for guidance on how they want this town done. That's our job, is to listen to this community and do what's right for this community, help this community grow. And so from this point on, that's what we need to do.
Yeah, all 5
And
of
it
us.
takes all of us.
Yes.
So,
No. 8.1, consideration, discussion, action, issuing keys, locks, and combination codes for the locks. The locks, all the locks are being changed to combination. So like if you need to get into the building, you have to have a combination lock. If you need to go into the building behind the old building, there you get a combination.
Is this just protocol due to employee?
Most times, you just let that. We just never had it.
No, it's kind of like very programmed.
And
That's
the
what it's done.
last I
That's what it's
knew,
done.
Yeah, I don't have any of those
after
codes.
all the terrorists and stuff, there was something that had went out that the only one that could have combinations to the lagoons or the city wells is a licensed operator.
He has to plastic.
Right,
That's actually who's only allowed past that one.
right.
The other thing would be keys to the buildings. If, so if one of us need to get into the building, we need keys to get in and get the key for the truck to set off the fire alarm, things, or sirens.
Yeah, I don't have any of those keys. Mike has those keys.
I've got a set right now.
The water.
The other thing we have to get, one of the minor issues we have to come up with. Item 8.2 is discussion action hours of operation for the library and town hall.
What we gonna do with it?
Yeah, when we get action or.
We got
No.
no action or something.
Yeah. Future action.
I say no action, then we need to take Michael, don't we?
Consider action, discussion and action on hours of operation for library and town hall. There's been some talk about people wanting different hours in a town hall and library. And one of the things we have to discuss is, after May 1st, after the, our next year, when our next time comes up with the next, annual year start this one.
Fiscal year?
Fiscal year.
July 1.
July. After July 1, maybe we should change hours of operation for library and or the town hall.
You know what I'd like to do? May 6th, why don't we open that up to public discussion?
So we'd like to see what the public would like to do. I mean, if they want more hours on the library, the hours on the city hall, we want to hear from you guys. And so we know what to do when it comes to, if we need to add more hours to these things or take some hours away. So we're probably getting with you guys for advice on that, what you guys want done. So.
One thing too to consider, because I know you guys are talking about some other changes and hiring more people, is if our finances can stand up too.
Also, I just want to put out there that when I was hired at 25 hours. I'm not working that right now, but that was my cap, so if that needs to go, it'll have to be.
The law will change with the building, you might have to put more hours.
With the new building this year, absolutely. That was the plan in the
It
first
also
place.
does-
I just don't have, I don't get paid enough to drive back and forth to the storage unit in Chandler every day to retrieve new books and switch out and do all that stuff, so.
Yeah. But it might be one of those things where people might say, you know what, nobody wants to use the library on a Monday, but maybe we'd like more hours on Friday.
I'm okay with
Or a
changing
split
the hours.
day of some hours in the morning, some hours in the afternoon.
Yeah, so I
Or
just-
evening
So
time.
ODL requires me to have at least 2 evening hours,
Right.
at once a week, so,
But-
and I have to be open 15 hours.
Right, and at that point, what I was getting at was, in as far as the books, you could do like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, book request, you know, something they want, and you're limiting your trips.
The motion, Jennifer.
I motion that we open up the consideration of town hall and library hours to our next regularly scheduled meeting of May 6th.
Second.
Jenny, yes.
Discussion action on police versus the tribal police. More along the line, their contract's gonna run out with the tribal police. We have to either start looking for hiring a police department out of our own or getting a contract with them that's more permanent.
What's the contract?
Well, the contract just rolled over, like they just started January 1.
They have to complain about the amount. They're not getting.
Yeah, they said that they were gonna, it's the exact same contract as before.
That's something we can see, because I have no idea.
Yeah, I can transfer it. It's $3,000 a month for their services, which is what the old police chief was getting.
Are they what, more now?
No, they said it's the same thing, just rolling over.
Right now, they're rolling it over.
So
Actually, we're paying less than we were before, because before we had to pay $1,200 a year for the use of the 911 system, and that's part of that.
This dispatch would be
So
1,500.
basically minus either one requesting to come with it, it's just an automatic.
Yeah, just automatic.
How many hours is that contract for?
I don't think there's an fly zone.
No action at this time.
But I'm just in the police contract.
Yeah, that'd be great if we need all that.
Consideration, discussion, action on the building in the park. Is there any update on that?
Asher, I talked to Asher earlier, he said that him and some other guys should be down today or tomorrow to look at the pad, because there needs to be some.
Can you speak up, please?
The dirt pad at the park, the contractor should be here today or tomorrow to do some dirt work to fix where the water runoff was. And then he said that they should start next week sometime, like Tuesday, Wednesday-ish, to put the plumbing and stuff in and do the concrete. Yeah.
So, that pad was put in back in October, right? Why is it taking so long to do concrete? I'm just curious.
It was the inspector and the engineer plans that we had to get or whatever, that they were back and forth and had to get corrections and stuff on there, so it was just delayed.
Survey.
Yeah, then we had to get surveyed and stuff like that.
And all that has been finalized?
Yeah, all that stuff's been done.
So then assuming that we get an answer from them, when can they start pouring the slab?
Next week, they said they're ready to go. So it's
You
like
said that, I'm sorry.
Tuesday,
Do
Yeah,
they
there
have
you
a general timeline of completion?
They just said, on the contract and the change ones that we've had to do is 11 months, but that's because of weather and stuff. So he says between 9 and 11 months from the time that they start construction.
Even 9 months, they'd be hustling to get before the next frost.
What, are 3 weeks of frost down here?
Well, when it starts freezing and doing weird things and raining. And, yeah, Oklahoma, don't, just wait a minute.
So no action, just an update.
And so I guess before we move on from that, is there anything else that Nathan and I should know, or James, about, we haven't been through any of this building stuff.
The building kit's been ordered, everything's there that they need to get it started. They're just between the weather and waiting for everybody to be on the same page. It's just ready to go. There's no trouble.
Are they gonna have to do anything with 105 when they start constructing?
No, we will have to get like a new tin horn right there that the town will have to buy. The county says they would help put it in, but we'll just have to buy the tin horn. Michael's already looked at a few places that we can get tin horns from. We're just trying to schedule it between the county when they can come and do the dirt work and stuff, so we don't have to like put a 40-foot tin horn here and move it and move it around or whatever. So that's the next thing on the list as far as the tin horn, but as far as ODOT or anything like that.
Okay.
What about, we're talking about crosswalk.
I'm still waiting. Yeah, I'm still waiting on that. The last lady I talked to was in the office. The guy that I needed to talk to didn't.
Crosswalk's gonna kind of be moved if there's no sidewalk there.
Yeah, they wanted us to. The lady that I talked to said to wait later until it starts coming along to worry about that. But yeah, the guy.
Right, 'cause the one and only sidewalk is coming down the opposite side.
Anything else?
The park, was there anything we were gonna? Because you wanted both of them down, but we only talked about the building.
Yeah, the park is just basically, is there something anybody had a question about what we're gonna do in the park or anything like that?
Yeah, we had that.
Well, we're not-
Yeah.
We gain or we?
We actually gained some. Yeah. Like 10 or 12 feet.
Yeah.
On the east side. So that's probably what we need to address with the property owner, because there's equipment and stuff that we need.
That's something we have to look at in the future.
Okay.
They had mentioned a whole ground shelter.
Yeah, let's see.
I just called a couple places and they run between $16,000 and $20,000. Cheapest I found was like 12. We had to put the pad in. The ones for 20, they put the pad in. And that'd be for up to 25 handicapped accessible.
For an emergency tornado shelter for the town, just so everybody knows what we're talking about.
For a town.
Or just the town hall, if you're at town hall.
No,
Well,
for
no.
everybody at town hall.
Pretty much a first come, first served time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That's what I was
we
talking
had talked
about.
about as well, that it would just be for the people that was at town hall, like whenever the.
But, yeah, on that same note, they were trying to do kind of a list of people that had shelters.
Yeah.
Rather than having a public list, I would encourage anybody that does have one, kind of reach out to the neighbors to you have one, you have one. Hey, look here, if something happens, you come here.
8.5, consideration, discussion, action on continuing education of employees and board members. That's basically self-explanatory. We're talking about, we have to keep our sewer and water people up to date on their education. Clerk, treasurers, board members, all groups of board members have to go to class within a year.
I'll send out a list of the trainings that's coming up.
Is that just for city members? What other continuing education have you guys been able to do?
I've done all sorts of different trainings. I've on the court side and the town side. I've done the court clerk trainings in Stillwater a couple times, so just whatever comes up for the town clerk side.
Is there more that you guys are wanting to do?
There's probably more on the court clerk side that we could do. I'd have to check for like the technical, like the actual like classes, those that court side.
Is that something that we can find a way to maybe kind of, I don't want to say advertise, but I know one of the, prior to the election, somebody was talking to me online about, you know, making sure that we have certifications and classes. Is that something that we can actually post? To that way, you know, everybody can look and see, oh, here are the people that have Class C and Class D waters, and here's the people certified. Okay. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? That's the way they're going to do it. You're going to notify people what's going on.
There's an online version of that in there.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. It just depends on either job. It just depends on who's putting it on. Sometimes they'll have virtual, sometimes.
8.6, consideration, discussion, action on time frame for agenda in the minutes. And a few people have talked to me, I don't know about the other board members, but people would like to see the agenda posted a little bit more in advance, like 4 actual working days.
I mean, I know we don't have to by law, but just in the essence of being more transparent and being more for the community, the more time people have to plan, the more people we can have here. So
It kind of goes along too with like the communication from the board to the clerk, like getting timely, in a timely manner communicated back, instead of sending a message or something out and it takes days to.
Are you telling us to answer it on text?
Not done.
I think it might be beneficial, aside from just posting, putting papers in a couple of places. I'll make it if I have to. Get like a sandwich board or go find one of the old yellow arrows, whatever. Put it out by the highway, by the stop signs. People can see it from going both directions. They gotta stop and look at it. You know, and post whatever's upcoming, Easter egg hunt, town meeting on such and such date, and let it sit out there for a week.
So you get permission from the owner.
Yeah, because we've had signs down there, they've been removed.
Within your city
I
hall.
would suggest
Yeah.
if you're gonna do that, then just go with the gentleman that, I don't even know what his name is, but across from the post office. Well, it used to be a grocery store.
Oh, yeah, like keyboard? Or what are you talking about?
Putting a, like the old sandwich
Oh,
board.
yeah,
Or a signage, something on that corner, so it can be seen going one way. So everybody, if not ever, you know, if you live outside of the edge of town, I got a mailbox from my house. You know, they want in town too, but that's a second. But, you know, some people just get it to their house. They don't go into the post office. Maybe they don't go into the station for whatever reason.
Maybe they don't pay attention to Facebook.
Yeah. Senior citizen.
So we'll work on trying to get the board members' agenda items to you sooner and try to get that. If we have to make an
Maybe we
amendment.
have like a cut-off time.
Well, I was just going to ask that. How much time do you need to get that put together?
The agenda usually just takes a day, but sometimes it's gonna take longer because it's trying to communicate between all the board members.
So-
Some of them has jobs, some of them don't.
So if we want her to have it done sooner, what you said, 4 days?
For working days, our meetings are on Tuesday, then it might be like on Wednesday afternoon, everything has to be through the Wednesday before the meeting.
So then we should make a point to have everything to her by Tuesday then.
Tuesday or Wednesday.
That way she can do that.
all the time, so.
7 days.
Maybe the Tuesday or Wednesday before the meeting.
Like I said, I'd say the Wednesday. I'd say the Wednesday before the meeting.
And if we
Like
need
the-
to make updates and, stuff, then that's fine if we amend it.
Because right now it's what?
2 days.
2 days?
That's 2 days.
So if we're gonna have to change this, we're gonna have to consider some. All that agreement. Motion.
Come on, I made all tonight. Come on, somebody else.
I make a motion that we get the agenda by the Wednesday, the week before the following Tuesday's meeting.
I second. What Jim said.
Jenny, yes?
Yes.
Richard, yes. Consideration, discussion, and action on community involvement. This has come up several times. We'd like to see more of the community involved in what's going on. We get input from the community on things that they want or they think we should change. And if it's just a phone call to one or two of the members, it doesn't do as much good as if it's before the board at a meeting. To come in, sign up. I'd like to see public concerns or public discussion before we go into some of the other stuff. I would like to fix the sixth item on the agenda instead of at the very end.
In-person meeting suggestion.
What about, should we make an email address? Suggestions@townoftryon.com or whatever?
Or they could just send it to the town attorney.
Just use it as a subject header. Other suggestions.
Well, me personally, I got Facebook. If anybody wants to message me, they can message me on Facebook, Jim Hampton. If they have any suggestions, they can reach me there. Because I work night shift. I get off at 7 o'clock in the morning. I work 7 days a week. So I'm kind of hard, but I do look at Facebook. So if someone wants suggestions, I think they can actually get in touch with me that way. And we can bring it from the board. I mean, we should be open for you guys on any way to communicate with us, any way you want necessary, so we get your ideas in here to try to make this town and community a little better. So I'm open to, if anybody wants to friend me on Facebook, they can. Ask questions to me on Facebook, I'll always get back to you, or I'll mention you their phone number or whatever, but I'm up for that. So.
I find people can call me, or if you want to get my phone number, I'm fine with anybody calling anytime. I mean, I answer right away because I work.
I'll be honest, I think I have a phone app on my phone somewhere. I don't know how much it's used, but send me a text message, send me a message on Facebook. Absolutely.
I'm open to messages too, but 10, 12 hours staring out a windshield with somebody, it doesn't give me a lot of time to answer.
People can contact me on Facebook too.
I just didn't know if we should have like an official electronic submission.
Yeah, we can do that. But there's just other ways we see it.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes they just don't want to get on there, like, I'd rather talk to them in person.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, put it in the subject header, just community suggestion, send it on
To the
town.
And you want to get your inbox flooded?
Well, I'm on all the time. I'd rather not add another thing I have to check.
Can we send out like a .gov or something to let people, or on Facebook, let them know that if they put, public suggestion in the subject, then that would be the way
We
to
can
go.
also use the filter process and kick it over to its own individual file.
And then as soon as they come in, I can also send them out to you guys.
Do we pay for the .text goes? Oh.
8.8, consideration, discussion, action on public input. They just covered most of it.
What about for the meetings? Opening up public input in the meetings.
Well, we talked about here at the meeting when I mentioned that we're trying to get more people involved to come into the meeting when I have a agenda item closer to the beginning of the meeting instead of the last item on each agenda.
We used to have the public appearances at the beginning.
We had a community individual that was complaining that our agendas wasn't set up correctly according to our code book. So, when the last board was here, we had a community member that complained that our agendas was not set up according to our code book, and we wasn't following their code book. So the board voted to, or told me to go back to how it is set up in the code book. So that is why things are set up the way that it is, because that's how it's
So if
labeled in
you
there.
want to change that, we need to change the code. I mean, you have a public appearances, discussion with the community, and then change that.
So to change the ordinance, was it good? No. Public
Oh,
hearing.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Public forum on public forum.
Eight, nine, consideration, discussion, action on voice amplification, it's also supposed to be recording. It will ask that we record our meetings and have them either maybe like a podcast or just have recorded messages saved 3-4 months in a row. Come back and look at this meeting or whatever.
I would like to do that. I would like to have, I really don't think it's right that residents have to take it upon themselves to record us. I would like to start doing that, but then also at the same time, as we've heard several times, we really need to get some kind of a microphone on this table so that people can hear us. Even if it's just a simple, telecom, 8-way mic hooked up to somebody's leftover guitar amp or something, just something so that we can be heard.
Well, for the time, I don't know, Donna, would they allow us to use a wireless and get into these two speakers?
I don't know, I'd have to ask.
Okay, that would be question number one. If all else fails, I have microphones and I have an amp you can hear at the gas station from here.
Is that something you can do then, Nathan, is try to work with this church and see if we can do that since you know the people here?
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
If nothing else, when the new building comes in, we'll make it something more permanent.
Because I can tell you from experience, sitting all the way back there, it's so hard to hear. Just because as you guys address the board, your heads turn, and it's just hard.
I'll put one of mine together and see how well it'll pick up from a distance.
I'll let you know if
From my house to the station,
If it's too much, I've got an extra amp for my guitars that I don't use.
I actually have 3,000. It can be done.
Anything else on what we should do for recording, et cetera?
When should we talk about getting a camera and recording our own meetings?
I would say when we get to the building, we still have money left over.
Is there a way that we can do it before then? Because if we're talking 11 months, then that means we're relying on residents to record us for another year. I mean, would it be that hard to get a small camcorder for the town? And yeah, and then we could get some information on it. What it would cost, and we can talk about it.
It's even got a remote on that one.
Right. So I heard Nathan volunteered to operate it. Is that what you heard too? Okay.
I don't even know how to operate it. Unless you want to go back to the Sony Handycam with a high 8 tape. Wow. I barely know how to use that.
Item number 9, public appearances, petitions, demonstrants, communication, and personal appearances.
Now, do you still want them to sign in?
I signed in. As Richard will attest, I'm pretty much a stickler for the law. Tonight's executive session was pretty illegal. According to the Attorney General, proposed executive session, possible
discussion and vote to enter into executive session has to be citation specific. The name of the unique position being addressed has to be identified. When you have a new job opening, it does not qualify for executive session. That's to be talked about in open session. And if you're hiring a contractor, it does not happen in executive session. And that's AG 17/2005, AG 29/2024. The other thing that was brought to my attention was, and this was mentioned before and recorded, that one of the board members wanted to change the town from a town form of government to a strong mayor form of government, which would mean a whole government changeover. What would have to be done in order for that to happen is there has to be a vote of the board, there has to be a public hearing, a notification has to be filed with the county and the state 120 days before the next general election. So that is not something that can happen within the next 2 years. It's not a decision for the board. Once that declaration has been made to the state, it goes as a petition for the residents to vote on. The board does not make that decision. One of the things that we need to understand in spending money, spending, is we are breaking the law if we go over budget. The town has a legal limit on their budget. And this is what they give us at the state to be on the board.
Can I ask, who was it that said they were gonna go to a strong mayor?
No, I never said that. I never said anything about that. The only thing I said is that a strong mayor, that wasn't even a strong mayor. What I said is that this town's been running on 3 different forms of government. Do the regular town board form, you consider yourself a weak mayor, and then you do some things in the strong mayor thing. There's 3 different things that this town's been running in.
Actually, no. We've been doing the board of trustees for how long?
On paper, that
Long time.
Mr. Sloan, when did your dad go on the first board meeting?
Well, I don't know. He was here at statehood, so it's been that long anyway.
I understand that. I brought that up how long ago? Do you remember?
Well, you brought it up to someone within the community just recently.
I don't remember bringing it up recently. The only thing I can say is I mentioned that 11 subsection 2-101B state statute says if you've been doing it for over 25 years, it's presumed to be the way the town board is.
And
I
we've
told
never.
her I had to stop complaining about what's going on. That's why we have a vice mayor today.
And we never had a strong mayor, ever. So, but I did want to bring out the fact that executive session was illegal. When you put someone on executive session, an employee, it has to state the position. You don't have to state the person's name, because if they hold that certain position, everybody in town should know who it is. But you can't just say, we're going to speak about personnel matters. That's not legal.
That's fair.
And I'm not gonna be here to bust your chops. Probably won't be at every meeting, but if I see something like that come up, I'm gonna come
If you see something like that, bring it up to Brittney too, because she would be the one that would catch that versus me too. I asked for certain things I don't necessarily already know that has to be worded, particularly person's name and things like that.
Well, I do want you to understand that there's a lot of members of the community. Your meeting wasn't illegal Sunday, but it was unethical.
Absolutely, I agree.
And every one of us that's in this room should have received an invitation. I would have brought the hamburger buns.
To be fair, the fact that the new board members weren't able to even get as much as a summary of the last executive session wasn't exactly ethical either.
I wasn't here. You saw what I
Oh,
did.
I remember. So there's been a lot of unethical this and that thrown around. The whole purpose of meeting Sunday, and to be fair, Nathan and Richard came over to my house. Obviously I'm on crutches, I can't go a lot of places, just so that we could know what is going on. We weren't even official board members yet, and we're getting emails from employees saying that they're resigning their positions. There was some panic, and we had no idea what was going on, where we were at with things, and here we might be forced to help make decisions before the next meeting even.
Can I add something?
Yeah. I don't know you.
My name is Sandra Beal. I was on the board many years ago.
Okay.
I've lived here since 2008. I agree with Mary Lee 100%. For you all to meet was unethical. I am one of the biggest cheerleaders of transparency and people here having a voice to the board. But for you all to meet, and from what you told me you all talked about, those are all agenda items. Have this special meeting, have the agenda where the public can be here and the public can hear what you're saying. It is, to me, again, I agree with Mary Lee, it's not illegal, but it's unethical. It's just as bad as if you were already board members and met and excluded other board members.
It'd be no different than if two past board members met with a current board member.
No, you were
and talked
discussing
about-
town business.
Well, they'd be discussing town business too.
But you affect the town business.
Can
We
here,
don't.
let's not do what the old board this, the new board that.
Exactly.
If we were out of place, I apologize. I was just wanting to get up to speed on things. If that was not something we should have done, then I apologize.
But they were welcome.
And I will promise
You guys were
not to do it
welcome
again.
to the table at executive session the meeting before and denied. That was the information. That was the time to welcome them. So I think we're forgetting that they got dismissed when they shouldn't have.
The thing with executive session, they wasn't actually put on the board yet, so you guys can't go in executive session.
If they had been allowed in executive session becomes public by law.
Yeah.
We were
They
just
were,
asking for a
they were
summary
told they
after
could
the
take a
fact.
vote. They
And
were
we never
told
got
that
that.
the board could take a
I
vote.
wasn't here.
I remember.
I'm just
You were
saying,
patient.
and Richard will, we don't always agree, we don't see eye to eye, we argue, we bicker, but we do have common ground. It was Richard and I that pushed for the public to be back on the agenda. I didn't deny Richard and he didn't deny me, and they were given a time limit.
So are we taking off the time limit now?
I think the board just said that.
I can't hear back here. So
That's what the board just said.
I couldn't hear.
What were you asking, Heather? Time limit. If there's not gonna be a time limit at this point,
I agree.
it's, what it's going to be is there'll be some control. If it gets to be too long, we'll have to ask you to shut it off.
Yep.
But there's actually no timer, because somebody
It's
might
open
come
to
in here and can't
interpretation,
say
though,
what
so
they
there
need
has to
to
be
say
something
in
with
3
guidelines.
minutes. Or another person can say something in 2 or 3 seconds.
You're leaving it open to interpretation though, so what do you call too long?
What's
That's what
the
you don't
issue?
want to hear?
It all depends on what the issue is. If you're just coming and saying, I've got a parking ticket, or I've got a speeding ticket that I have a problem with.
So you're
you
saying
should
it's
be
going
able
to be up
say it
to
in a
you
minute or
guys to
two.
figure out whether you want to hear us talk or not?
If it's somebody who wants to come in and talk about that we're spending too much money on something, and they want us to explain it, we might have to go into 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes to explain
Then
what
so
they
be
have
it.
to say, what we have to say.
Then so be it. But right now, you're saying it is your interpretation, not what you can or cannot hear.
I think right
Well, he's
now
not
what we're
trying
saying
to
is there's
include
not a
the
limit. And if it
We'll see
becomes
how
a
it
problem,
goes.
we might have to talk about it.
We'll see how it goes.
In the past, I had 168 people come into one of my town board meetings up north.
Well, this isn't up north.
They were talking about a major issue that had to do with the whole county.
This isn't up north, that's barely. the
I
whole
know it's
town.
not up north, but I'm just saying, we had 168 people come in and talk. They wanted, when we opened the meeting for people to talk, we had 60-some people wanted to talk out of that group. We ended up with only 20 people talking, and it took less than 45 minutes. Because we asked the people, if you're talking the same point of view of somebody else in this board that just talked to the board, we've heard the issue. We don't need to have it hashed over and over.
So we'll see
Because
how
we don't
it goes.
expect to have a meeting till 3 o'clock in the morning.
So since we made a
If
motion
there's
to
issues
add
that
a
need to be
couple
addressed, then
meetings
so be it.
I'm sorry?
If there's an issue that needs to be addressed, so be it. Time is time.
I don't know you either.
I'm Paul.
Paul?
Yes.
Are we gonna have to put that back on the agenda to make another motion on that? Because we made a motion before to have that set at 3 minutes with some stipulations, so that's gonna have to be put back on the agenda.
For May's meeting?
And like I said, if anybody needs to talk to me personally about issues they're having, I'm more than welcome to meet, talk, whatever. And if I need to bring it in front of the board for you guys, I'll bring it in front of the board, because that's what you guys put me on this board for.
And I think at the same point, what he's trying to say is, you know, if somebody's on there and they're just kind of repeating over and over the same, you know, saying the same thing 6 ways, then kind of, hey, you know, we're kind of pushing on time because it's dragging the meeting long. Can you kind of summarize what you got, you know, so that we can get the other people in here without being here?
I can agree with
Forever.
the need of it. I was just saying that you
Yeah.
guys are leaving it to your interpretation though.
Well,
Those
and that-
general
and that-
guidelines. So if it's a subject that you don't want to talk about or expand on.
Oh, no.
Well, let's shut that down for a little while.
No, we don't want to do that.
No.
It's just, like I said, if you've had 5 people and it's all the same
Gotcha.
subject matter, and then all of a sudden you've got, you know, 20-minute dissertation, can we kind of bring that in a little bit so that we can move on to the other people and not be here till
Do
tomorrow?
you need us to do anything to put that on
Because
the
we,
agenda?
we want to hear your concerns, if you got gripes and stuff, we want to hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, that's what I'm on this board for.
And not everybody's the greatest orator, so, you know, they might trip over themselves, and it'd take them 10 minutes to say what the other person could say in 3. Yeah.
Is it fair to say that at this moment, we're going to talk on May about not having any time limit? For-
Anything else?
I'm Chelsea and I'm new to the town and we just moved here in November and kind of in the middle of a lot of drama, obviously. So I just wanted to ask, as a new family in the town, as a new resident, what steps are you guys taking to kind of unify the town and bring us back together? Because we feel like we kind of moved into a home where 2 parents are getting a divorce.
And that's why I ran.
I'm sorry to laugh. That was just a perfect.
That's why I actually got back on the board. I was on the board for 13 years, and I saw what was going on, and I didn't like what was going on. And so that's why I ran, because we have to be united on this. If we want to see this community grow and new families move in here, we have to be united and agree on things. And you know what? You might not like our decisions sometimes, but we're going to do what's best for this community.
So, like, do you guys have any plans for that? Like, you know,
Well-
activities or something to
Like, what does
kind of
it look like?
reunify us?
Yeah,
What's that gonna look like going forward?
Well, we got the Easter egg.
Easter egg.
We got the Easter egg coming up for the community. You've heard there's talk about, you know, what we're gonna do with the library hours and things like that, which would be things for the community. I think for myself, the biggest 3 things for me is just that we need to be open, you know, like we've done in this meeting. Here's everything we've talked about. What do you guys think? In order to get the town's trust, we need to trust them. We need to stop making comments on Facebook and going after residents and just, you know, we're public servants. Y'all are our customers. And we need to treat that with customer service of, you know, I'm sorry you feel that way. Have a great day.
Also, just to put it out there for everybody, the library board, when we last met, we talked about what we wanted to, like what kind of events we wanted to host. So right now, I'm putting a calendar together of the things that the library plans to host this year, and we're going to try to do it every year.
And I'd like to actually make a community calendar on the webpage.
And
for everything. But the third thing is professionalism. We have to stop bickering. We have to stop going after residents on social media.
Yes.
We have to treat the residents like our customers.
But I think it goes both ways.
Yeah,
It does.
I agree.
But we have to start.
realize
we
that's
have
what
to
I think.
take
We
our
gotta make
steps.
the
Somebody gotta put all the things in.
Yeah.
Now, somebody mentioned, just a day or so ago about, community yard sale it used to be before the cleanup. And they just did the, farmer's market. Well, there's a couple items on there I think that we're gonna have to kind of revamp just a little bit to kind of straighten out some stuff. But at the same time, there was a comment of maybe doing, instead of city like garage sale, kind of flea market deal down at the park. You know, certain type deals like that.
Isn't there like a block party a long time ago as well?
There was a few people that done things like that. And that's the same thing as, but at that same time, you know, there's only so many people here. So, you know, if they put in all the time and the effort and then 4 people show up, that kind of shoots it in the foot. So it kind of, you know, the more people that we can get, you know, somebody's, hey, I've got carnival stuff at the house that, you know, I can set up this and that. The more people that want to build it, the more people that want to come. You know, I'm old. I remember, yeah. I remember, you know, 4th of July, they have stock tanks full of watermelons, you know, and all kinds of crazy stuff, you know. And it just drives me nuts that the last time I remember that happening around here was 1976.
And I know that you have church on Saturdays, but not all of our events are on Saturdays, so you can just reach out to me and we can.
No, that's not to say we haven't done a few minor things, but the last time there was a big shindig was twice in there.
And I have one more question. I won't filibuster. So, are there any committees that townspeople can join or establish to kind of help build this rapport with everybody? Beautification committees, or clean up trash in the park committee?
What all communities do we have now?
We have a park committee.
Our committee, and we have the library.
Yes, so the library board we have, and everybody's welcome to come to that.
I think that can be done kind of on a point by point, you know, different times of the year, you know, the community garden thing. Okay, we're doing that on the spring, you know. Who wants to be part of it? And get the names in and then go after it, because what I've seen over the last couple of years, well, it went in there and then 2 people did everything, you know.
Yeah, but that's how it starts.
Well, I know, what I'm saying is they put it out there and it all got started and then it got left to 2 people maintain it and then,
Well,
you know.
hopefully they get the word out a little better too.
Right.
Clearly, we're all on Facebook to get on
Right.
our so maybe like put some things on Facebook. So
And that goes back to the kind of, you know, the public suggestions subject header. Hey, you know, it's spring. Can we try and fire up a community garden? Can we do a, you know, a Saturday afternoon baseball game? Kind of get the kids quit wandering around and actually do something useful.
The library has a summer program, just saying.
So what kind of things would you like to see that would help you feel less like you're living in a divorce settlement? Yeah, I mean, what kind of things are you, as a new family, are you looking for your family, for the community?
Well, I have small children, and like nobody has really welcomed us to the town or like said, hey, or anything like that, except for this church and put some notes on our door. But events for children, something like that. Even if it's like a play date at the park, or like let's get all the kids together for the community garden, like you said. Just anything that would kind of bring the townspeople out from behind our Facebook, fights and just where you stop talking to each other.
It doesn't even have to be anything complex, like you said, play it at the park, picnic at the park.
So it almost sounds
$100.
Almost sounds like we might need some kind of an outreach program then.
We'll reach out to you about summer reading. We're still putting it together right now, but we've got a base calendar. It's like 4 weeks of activities and stuff. So.
Which we have a grant writer too that's working on grants to put new equipment in the park, to put a cannon facility. What else, Brittney? A community garden, a walk around thing, and Yeah.
Story walk too. So.
Story, yeah.
Janelle, can you post the link to that calendar?
Yes, I have not finished it yet, but when I get it done, it will be done.
Great.
Well, thank you, and welcome to the community.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. We have 2 questions.
Anyone else?
Anybody else?
Big dinner or forever hold your pizza.
Number 10.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Sandy's, you saving it?
Jenna, yes.
It was your dog that was. I like him.
You want it?
No.
You like it, don't you?
Yeah. I have a husky right there, remember the husky that doesn't like very much.
Oh, red dog.
I have my say.
Just adjourn the first side.
Sandy here.
Jenna here.
Jim here.
Board members, same as before. Consideration, discussion, action, adding Jenna Taylor. Adding Jenna Taylor, Jimmy Hampton, Nathan Jones, Payne County Bank accounts. That's right.
I'll make a motion that we add, Jenna, myself, and Nathan to all bank accounts.
Sandy seconds.
Jenna, yes.
Nathan, yes. Richard, yes. Proposal board of trustee Town of Tryon entering into executive session according to Title 25, Section 307, subsection B1, discussing employment, hiring, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, resignation, any individual salary, public official, or employee. 5.1, Kimberly Hayes, 2-week notice. 5.2, utility operator thought and utility position.
Yeah.
We're going.
Yeah.
I motion that we go into executive session for the utility meeting.
You second, Jim?
What's that? Oh. We get the letter, we have the letter?
Yes,
We need a second. Do we go into executive session?
Yes.
Nathan, it's your chest. It's your chest. I didn't hear your
Yes.
motion.
I lost, I was digging out paper section.
That's her official resignation.
Yes.
Well, she's not here to ask her if she wants to.
Don't start.
You know, so about all we can do is agree to accept it.
I didn't know.
Sneaky.
I didn't know. My camera was still. Oops. They were quick. This one should be. So,
I tried to reach him, but I couldn't get a hold of him.
Where they go and it's a meeting.
Yeah. They're posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
I didn't get it, and my daughter yelled for me.
It was wrong.
You know, if it's a Wilson, that's fault, or Robertson, we're related. So,
I think it's maybe your session that comes up.
The Starlings, because Mrs.
Anyways,
Grandma
my dog
Starling
works at
was
her house, she
also
comes
really
out, she was scared, and I'm like,
I know, it was just, it's nice. I just wanted you to
He's
aware
downstairs.
of that, so it was like,
we were interested, do not date anybody from Harvey. If they say they look anywhere in Harvey, the other direction. You have to do a DNA test. Your children have 2 heads.
even though they got their own, it's still like,
I mean, I get it.
And we're, so we don't have,
yeah,
but,
so just, yeah,
the last time we did it, we had like water slides.
They were on the outs a little bit.
I'm talking about having any color horses here.
I just saw him Monday.
Fall Fest and.
Tuesday.
Mine was probably 2 weeks ago over at Dollar General.
I'll let
He
you.
was working at Wednesday night. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, I don't think so.
And I'm off from June to August, so.
Do you volunteer to babysit?
Sure.
Okay, and so they'll be there at 6
And it's just the.
How are they?
What happened? Mine, yeah, they're 3, 6, 11, 17, and 14.
Well, we let them in church, too.
Thank you, yeah, and you said Wednesday is kind of a kid oriented, right?
Sunday night
Sunday night.
is all church for anybody. It's for anybody. Yeah, Wednesday night is, they have a lesson every day.
Okay.
On Wednesday nights.
Okay.
And, but,
They used to do a movie.
I knew you didn't want to.
well, Kelsey and I's been doing things like when fall or spring break, we get one. And we'll do the first. Where she's playing on for the library meeting.
That's what I was.
We're open to listen, if she wants to do it to June, July. Here, I've got to check Tuesdays. They can either do it Tuesday afternoons, but Tuesday morning, that's the sewing ladies. And I will not,
No,
I will not.
put them out for anything.
No.
Maybe talk to people in our church.
But they just, did they get to do?
You wanna know what's funny? Mrs. Rodman and the ladies make,
I'm still fighting.
made Allie for graduation, which was 17. She found out she's pregnant. She goes, Mom, I can't find my Baptist quilt. I said, well, do you need a Baptist quilt to have a baby? She goes, I need Mrs. Rodman to have it.
And Phyllis just turned 90, Tuesday.
Really?
She's in Texas with her daughter.
She is still living.
Yes, she's still living, or she has to. She's had a lot of heart problems and stuff, but she made it to 90 Tuesday, so, yeah, we still keep in contact.
Well, I found it though.
Oh, well, good for her. Good Baptist quilt there.
I mean, it's like.
They have a stage. That's where they usually have a big whiteboard. There's stuff written on there, and do not write if you do not have to. No, I never really. I was like, hold on, just. Yeah, it does.
So then when I went to view it, it was on had a stage.
Yeah.
Then it came out.
So I didn't let it go.
Yeah.
How big that thing was, big enough for these sliders.
But I was like, oh, but I'm planning on.
Anyway, that's nice. And the last two times it's been they just said that's why she's gonna be like this.
Like, come on in over here.
It was an agreement, change, so I know what's happening. 23 over here, agro school, wherever, back when, in February.
And nobody came.
Nobody came over that. 26 because Cheney's was like terrorized Sean, 125. I already knew two of them weren't coming because she's already called down for divorce. So I told him, I go to that.
But I'm worried that I'm still between we could check the shot and have a heart attack. But I drove over here. So we're just walking to the house or I'm not walking to the house.
Next day, I started this morning crap. She just didn't. It's not like it's jumping scratching.
You gotta receive
those things. And then I was like, yeah, I'm gone. I was like, yeah, that's not sick. Or I just like terrorized.
Yes. This one.
We always start moving on our date, and by the time we turn it all off, we're gonna see. But I'm just, it's gonna hurt. I don't know. I'm human. I get supposed to rain, and I do say things.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, and then like all next week, I will share.
I know this.
I have to like clean in spurts, because again, personally, I have to take an hour or two to clean. And then it all goes off like Saturday. And then.
This is easy. This is the person that doesn't come home and is telling people that I said, you should say something in between. True colors. I'm like, I don't say. Well, and I see right now I'm having enough trouble. They just think it's my legs. Like in the first, you know what I mean? Like, do they tell you the rooster grab? Well, no, they can't. It's like, Heather came over to these chicks that I had, because I hatched a bunch, and I had another batch of hatchies within 18 days, and they started, they were between 22 days, and they all started hatching in the 17s. I was like, oh shit. I was like, Heather, come get these, please. And I was cutting them from the dog crate, that had a little crate that was out in the cage on the ground, and just got directly on my left side. That, oh no, he spurred straight. It's not just a scratch, it's a straight puncture.
Usually during
I see it clean it does hurt hard. I'm like, cool. But we searched for, full of bacteria and stuff. So even though I've done everything right to clean it, I still all that stuff. When I got it finished, so
they try to just,
yeah, it's like her.
throw the kids on town, so they can have access to it.
I'm sure they're talking about pinkies wrong. Somebody tossed it down behind me and we were burning trash and stuff. And all over the ground.
Come on, guys.
And
Quick one.
there was a cedar tree in it, and I jumped in back because they damn near cut the pinky toe off. That was years ago. So if it ain't one foot hurt, it's the other right one.
We just need to know when and how, whether we're doing everything there on cash or not necessarily.
It sounds cool.
All right. I motion we return to executive session.
I say?
Sandy, yes.
Jim, yes.
Too quick here, everyone's doing here. I got all the initials down. 1.1, Kimberly Hayes, 2-week notice of resignation, will accept her resignation. For
I make a motion that we accept Kimberly Haynes' resignation letter.
Second.
Sadly, Jenna, yes.
Richard, yes. I know no action on utility operator's thoughts on utility position is not here. Number 8, miscellaneous. Consideration, discussion, action on continuing education of employees in the board. We discussed that at the last meeting, that we'll set up some schedules for people to be educated, board members within a year get their new official manual.
It'd be interesting. I'd like to also find out if Michael wants to look for any more continuing education too.
Yeah, he's always, but he's probably got a list of it already together, so I'll just.
Great.
Yeah. He's like,
Good. Yeah, since he's not here to talk about it.
and there's actually a conference on April 25th, an RWA conference that he was going to go to. I guess it's how big we're talking about.
On April 25th.
Do we know how much it costs or?
It does cost, I'm not quite sure, I think last time, because it's for 3 days, it's like $325.
None of
Is
these
that
classes.
is that $325 a day or
No.
12? That's actually not bad. Does that include like room and board and everything too?
No, hotel is separate.
Commute? How far is it?
I believe that one's in Tulsa.
Where was that one last year? It was Norman.
I might be able to help with the hotels, but I need a first, last name, and dates requested, and see if they qualify under the employee friends and family discount for me to have an email sent over. But I don't do it for very many people, so if it's something like that, I might consider sending that email out.
So I guess it's on him to reach out to us.
There's only one stipulation to that email. You can only open it once, so 3 emails get sent out, and you have to book your hotel room through the email link the first time you open it. That's why I try to have him send 3. So if you close it out, you have to start over with the new email. I work at a hotel part-time on top of my full-time job.
Discuss and take care of on the last one. 8.2, consideration, discussion, action on time frame for agenda minutes. Decided at the last meeting, go to 1 week in advance.
You want to have a motion for this?
Yeah, well, a motion that we how do I say this? I motion that we make a policy to have the utility agenda posted by the Wednesday before the regular Tuesday meeting.
Sandy seconds.
Jim, yes.
Richard, yes. 8.3 and 8.4, consideration, discussion, action on community involvement, and consideration, discussion, action on public input. And we're going to make a amendment to our.
We can actually put no action on those two, because that usually happens on the town side.
No action on that.
Do we currently have a time limit for people talking on the utility side also?
3 minutes.
3. So we'll need to get that on the agenda for next meeting.
8.5, consideration, discussion, action on part-time utility helper duties and hours.
What is the position? I know it's part-time, but what all?
It's a contract labor utility helper, and they usually help with like reading money, small things like that, or assisting the operator in any other extra tasks.
If the operator has to go and change a meter, he needs help digging the hole or whatever, just help with everything.
How many hours is it a week?
It's been between 10 and 20, it just kind of depends on
It's usually a summer job.
Okay.
We're talking about changing it to a full-time. Not full-time, but year-round.
Year-round position. And then is that one of those things that we're just putting on Facebook, or can we actually put that in the newspapers to try to get some more?
That's what put in the newspaper as well.
Generally, 28 is considered part-time versus full-time.
I thought it was 32.
I don't know. It's been ages. But 20, 30, whatever. Anyway, set that as kind of a maximum unless prior observation or whatever.
Plus we got
Yeah, maybe.
Well, right, that's what I'm saying. You're gonna set a baseline and then top end so that you don't just go out there and have 50 hours and find out when they take us a show.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to be advertising in the papers. I'm guessing that's in Frog again, right, Greg?
Correct.
Can we also put it into like Perkins or something
Yeah,
like
we
that?
usually put it in the Perkins Journal, Cushing,
Okay.
Right.
We can also
Yeah, then we have to pay overage.
You guys already posted that.
Right, but I'm saying that's if we get into a big dig time where you need more items.
So then that should have already been in like Perkins and them newspapers. Okay.
No action on that for it, though. Number 9. Yep. Public appearance and position for last year. Personal appearance. Anybody? Anybody for utility? None. Who's turning?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Jim said.
And a yes.
Ed, yes. Richard, yes.
Thank you for the use of it.
I ordered 40 of them on Temu. Cool. Oh, yeah.
I took a bunch to the office too. I didn't really order 2 bags of any.
Can I make a motion?
Well, there you go.
About $10 at Walmart.
Yeah. BYOP, right? Very own pillow.
They got some poor people up there. They're expensive.
That's the one I sent you on the email.
Yeah. Do you need this back? Do you need that back?
So then,
Are we planning on getting keys to the siren boxes to all board members or?
That's all board members.
Well, Richard was, but
I think the board should just decide on who gets keys for what.
and I'll be honest with you, middle of the night tornado, I'm not going to be someone to go for with it because I
You want us to
put on
keep
the
it on
play,
top?
that stuff. I mean,
Yes, so we should.
it's called what it is. You know. Yes, but it's clear on the other side of the house.
Well, I slept there.
Yeah.
Okay. So you
If
want
the
those?
market ever settles down, we're going to remodel it. We're going to add on the house. We're going to put an above ground shelter.
Okay. She's got community there in the morning. Alicia. Yeah.
We're looking at providing masters for her. It's a lot more accessible for me, so we need that. Yep, who gets the recorder?
Hey, Brittany.
I do.
You want the recorder?
Yeah.
what do you want that air on? I mean,
Put on 80.
80?
Yeah. There's a sign up there.
Hey, Brittany.
This Brittany. We were talking about getting Kimberly something for the town.
Okay.
Is that something that we can use you for to go through to get some flowers or something?
Yeah, I can do that. Is there a price limit?
I think we were gonna kind of put money together and do it, so.
Okay, yeah, just let me know. Yeah, they can go under the table.
So, just leave it
just have
where
to
it
turn around.
was.
Just round table?
Okay.
Yeah, Donna said they set them up for something or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have breakfast Sunday morning. But Alicia's gonna come and clean them.
So do you want us to put them on the table?
Whichever, yeah, it's just where.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, Alicia gets a little, here, tip it up so.
Yeah. Whichever one. Well, it is easier for her to clean. And I wanna make it
Those will
easy.
go under there.
Cause they do sew a lot.
You get that one up there and I'll do this one.
Okay.
You got her? Yeah, we did. That was a great.
And I'm Donna.
Richard?
I can't do any voting because I live 4 miles out of town. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Tryon is my town.